If a lender told you that you needed a cosigner to buy a house, don't sign a single thing until you hear this. In my last video, we broke down how much house you can really afford. But what happens when you do the math? You know in your gut you're ready, and the bank still tells you no. Well, today I want to talk to you about Denise. She is a teacher, and for years, people told her that her income was not enough and that she would need someone to co-sign for her. But Denise did not have a money problem. She had a wrong lender problem. Stay with me, because what 3 other people missed on her file might be sitting on yours too. Now, let me back up a little bit and tell you where Denise started. She's a public school teacher in her hometown, and she had spent years trying to buy her first home. Years. Every time she got close, someone moved the finish line on her. First, it was her credit. They told her it wasn't good enough. So she went and did the work. She paid things down, and she was patient, and she built her score all the way up to a solid 700. Now, that's not a lucky number, that's discipline. But that wasn't good enough, because the story changed again. Same conversation, brand new wall. Now it was, well, it's not your credit anymore, it's your income. You are probably going to need a cosigner. Now, here's the part that got me. Denise did not want a cosigner. After all those years of grinding on her own, she wanted to buy her home on her own. And I get that. I feel her. You could hear it in her voice when we talked. Part determination and part just plain worn down by people who would not really help her out. If you have ever felt like that, you are not weak and you're not behind. You just been talking to the wrong people. Denise and I sat down virtually and went through her loan file line by line, and 2 things jumped out almost immediately at me. No one had ever bothered to catch either one. The first, I call the pay stub trap. A while back, Denise had a previous lender review her pay stubs to prove her income. Sounds like a normal day in the mortgage industry. But the stretch of pay she handed over to this lender had a lower amount because there was a time period where she had to take some time off to take care of a family situation. So the checks that the lenders were using at that time to validate her income were lower than what they would normally have been. You see, that lender took the lower number and wrote Denise off and moved on to the next client. Nobody stopped to say, hey, is this a normal month for you as far as income is concerned? Or was something going on during this period of time? Nobody explained it to her. No one at all. So here's a lesson for you, and I want you to write this down. Always know what 30 or 60 days of income you're handing over to a lender. If you had time off, a slow season, unpaid leave, anything that made a pay period look smaller than what it normally would, speak up before that becomes the number your whole future gets judged on. You see, the right lender asks, the lazy one just uses whatever is on the document. Here's the second thing, and this is the one that changed everything. You see, Denise had qualifying income sitting right in front of her that no one counted. Not one of them. Denise is a caregiver for an adult family member, and that family member receives steady monthly benefit income. Because Denise is the caregiver, depending on the loan type that you're working with, that income can be used to help her qualify. And you better believe that's what we did. You see, she was told she needed a cosigner when there was already qualifying income in her own household that none of the other lenders were able to figure out. Not a single one of those previous loan officers thought to ask about it. Now, I'm not saying that to be cruel about the other loan officers. I am saying it because this is exactly why the person reading your file matters more than almost anything else. Two lenders, two loan officers can look at the same documentation and see two completely different borrowers. One sees a problem, the other sees a path. So let me show you the real Denise, the one the paperwork should have shown all along. She's had the same employer for over 10 years, credit score of a 700, and almost no debt. Just a small student loan payment on top of a loan that she was actively paying down. She had already saved up her closing costs before she ever reached out to me. That's not a risky borrower. That's a strong one. Once the right eyes were on her file, Denise was not a maybe. She was an emphatic yes. The problem was never Denise. The problem was the wrong person holding the file. Hear me on this, because this is the whole point. When someone tells you that you need a cosigner, that's not always the truth. Sometimes it just means you are sitting across from the wrong lender. Before you go asking a family member to put their name and their credit on the line for you, get a second set of eyes, a real set, somebody whose job it is to find the yes and not to hand you an easy no, because you may be far more ready than the last person made you feel. So Denise is on track to get the keys to her new home before the summer break ends, because as a teacher, that is her window to move. And she is getting there without a cosigner because she stopped taking no from the wrong people who never really looked. If any of this sounds like you, that is exactly the kind of thing I look for when I'm going through a file. There's a link below to book a quick consultation call with me. No pressure, no sales pitch, just a chance to listen to your story and find out what your real picture looks like. But listen, getting approved is only half the fight. Once you have that loan, you have to be able to keep the house. And one of the biggest things that quietly wrecks a budget after you move into a new home isn't even the mortgage payment. It's the stuff that no one has warned you about. That's exactly what I break down next. Go watch Your House Costs More Than Your Payment. And here's why. If Denise's story lit a fire under you, that video is how you stay ready and stay in your home for good. I'll see you over there. Indeed.